So I kind of have that first solid I made from a sketch. And then we will try to shell this one. And we choose a face or body. And thickness. Inside thickness, we can play with the slider a little bit. So I can get it to be that thick. Or I can make it really thin. 0.5 millimeter. You know, think about if you're 3D printing, especially with the PLA, you might want to go with it, thicker and heavier, so that it will be durable. But anyway, you can hit OK, and then you have a hollow form. Sketch. Chose a plane. This time we'll draw a square on here. Draw a square. Finish sketch. I could kind of use that to extrude. And right now it says join. Or I could cut, or I could intersect, or I could make this a whole separate component. But we will say OK. You can kind of build with it very simply that way. To make a form with a sketch type of tool. One is a revolve, and again we have to decide on a plane we want to work on. So I can use the line tool, which for some reason I've deleted it off of my clipboard there, but usually it would be there. But I can find it here, or I can just push down an L on the keyboard. But we'll just do that there. So I can kind of take and click up and drag up. It's giving me all types of measurements. Oh, also if I hold down the shift key as I go, I can get a curve, and then I release, and then I get back to a straight line. Do that. Now I could hit this thing to stop, or I can bring it back because I want a closed form for this from a Revolve. And I can go finish sketch, and then I can go up to either Revolve, or I can find it down here, and it gives you little instructions on it, which is awfully handy. So I click Revolve, and then I can select profile, and once selected, select axis, which is what it's going to revolve around. Usually I could click here or here. I think some of these might go nuts, but let's see what happens. So if I click there, I get that. Okay, you can see how I can change the degrees and such, and we can kind of rotate around it a little bit. Now let's see how things can go wrong, which is what I'm good at doing. So if I click here, got an error message. Won't do it because it's going to fold upon itself. So it doesn't like that. So if I click here, then I get something. But I got a very different something. Got one of these, whatever that is. That's kind of nice. So sometimes, depending on which line you click on, you did do that one, but now you don't see it, but there's a opening in the middle. And you can also play with the degree by sliding or typing it in. So now I can kind of do things like that. And I can see that opening in the middle, whatever this thing is. And we've selected one-sided. Two-sided kind of gives you a little different kind of control. And then there's symmetric, which is fairly self-same. So whatever you do, it's going to be symmetrical again. But anyway, let's hit cancel to extrude, and we've kind of, you get that. We can go the other way and go in between. Take that, go OK. And the new body thing and the component thing gets more important later on. Push me, pull me. It's kind of like extrude, but it sort of does a different thing. So I can kind of push down on that. And because I have such a weird form, it's doing something strange. So we can go cancel. But it does weird things with curves and stuff. So push me, pull me, it's kind of something to play with. And, well, let's just get rid of this guy. Good. Okay. Because we're going to do a sweep, which that might get complicated because it'll cut into itself. Usually I mess things up that way. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to keep this simple so I don't get too out of hand. I promise. And oh yeah, we're going to choose do this plane right here, and just going to take a circle, make a circle there. I got that one, and just for the fun of it, just to make things complicated, because I like things to go wrong, I'm make a little circle inside of it. Okay, and then I'm going to go finish sketch, and then I'm going to do another sketch, that, and then instead of a line tool, I'm going to grab the spline, and I'm going to click here, I think was in the, let's click center of it, and spline tool comes out like a line tool, a little bit, but then when I click on it, all of a sudden I can curve it like this without holding down any kind of shift key or anything. It's kind of a different animal. Let's make something not too complicated, and I could go to the green one there, or I could hit escape. Now I get these control handles on here. Oh, but I want to hit escape now, so I get to notice that it's got the tool, little squiggly line next to it, and when I hit escape, it goes away. Now I just have to arrow it, but I can still manipulate my spline this way with these handles. So you can do a lot of different things, but you can also grab these and sort of move it this way as well. Sketch before I mess the whole thing up. I could continue to, right now it's on a flat plane, and I can still, in that plane, I can still manipulate the sketch a little bit without the control handles as much. But that is still kind of within that flat plane. Sometimes you can get this to work, and I can pull it out of that a little bit if I so desire. Hopefully I haven't made a mess of it, and the square gives you a little bit more of the movement like that. Hit OK. Now we got this thing. Now, I might have made a mess of this, but let's go to sweep, and we will choose a profile. And I could choose this. Here, let's click off everything. I got this profile clicked, and I can select a path, and I can select that one. Path. Oh, hit the select button to select a path, and it kind of gives me it really quickly. Just kind of smooshed it because it's coming out at that harsh angle. So and you can adjust where it's going along this. So if I had been more straight off of that circle, it would have been, if that hadn't been such a harsh thing there, it wouldn't be as bent. But you get some interesting things this way. Now if I go, no, I don't want that profile selected. I want to try something else. I want to try to select this one. Body would intersect itself. So I have created a disaster again. Because I've made such a crazy line. Let's cancel that. And let's see if I can make this. No, that's why. Let's straighten it out a little bit. I don't know if that'll make a difference. It's a little bit less crazy. Maybe. Try. At first you don't succeed. Try again. Profile. Pathway. Did it. So sometimes things don't work, and because they're crashing into each other, and the computer says that's not going to work. But I can also shorten and lengthen this to play with and get shapes for 3D printing. So I could, if I like that, I could hit OK. Sketch again. Set on this profile. Start a circle there, and I could say a rectangular pattern, and I can pull this guy this way. So I could make these go a little bit this way if I wanted to, but I think that was a bad idea. Let's go back. Kind of layering them on top of each other. All right, cancel. So I got these 3 holes here. I mean 3 circles here. Sorry. I can finish sketch, can then decide that I want to extrude. this one, hold the shift key down. Whoops. Got them all? Alright, and then either go this way, I'm cutting through them both ways, and now they're cutting through partially away, which could be a good look, which is one-sided. I could do two sides, go that way too, symmetric, which gives me kind of the same thing. And that was the only choices. Okay, and so let's go. Okay, so now we've cut some holes into our pipe. We're making a flute of some sort, and I want to make it with this thing.